This is Ophthalmology Times Europe. We're here with Geuder Engineering to talk about what is new and exciting at their EURETINA booth. So again, you know, obviously the virtual experience this year is going to be so much different than if we had been able to go to an actual booth and have some hands-on experience with your products and what have you. So can you tell me what a visitor to your virtual booth might expect this year during EURETINA? Oh, and please introduce yourself as well.
Okay, my name is Hamadi El-Ayari. I'm the Vice President Sales and Marketing at Geuder. So I'm pretty much responsible for everything which is related to the potential client. I'm doing this job since 10 years, 8 months and 23 days, so quite a while. And I've seen quite a lot of conferences. And principally, it's always a very good idea to stop by and have a chat at the Geuder booth, because there's so much to discover. There's always something new in the surgical instruments to discover, a new piece of instrument you might use. There's a new associated surgical technique and pearls to share. And there's always information to exchange with the surgeon. And as I say, it's going to be quite difficult to replace this in a virtual scenario, especially because on a normal conference, we would have our vitreoretinal liquids and gases, the vitrectomy machine, and an entire instruments of more than 3,000 handheld surgical instrument portfolio. And as a surgeon, you can touch it, you can try it in a wet lab scenario on a pig eye. And virtualizing this is nearly impossible. We will strive to do our best to have at least some of the news displayed and to have people available virtually to talk to, but asking me very honest, I don't think we can live up with a virtual conference as industry as we would live up in a physical conference.
So what is new this year? I mean, are you introducing any new products for the retina surgeons this year at EURETINA? And if so, can you tell us a little bit about what you're introducing?
Of course, there's always a lot of new things to discover. What we are launching this year, some examples is for the vitrectomy machines, for the Megatron S4 device, we improve the accessories for retinal surgeons, especially the 25G accessories. We all know small incision size compromises frequently in stiffness. So we've improved the stiffness of the light bulbs. We've improved the stiffness of the vitreous cutters drastically. And at the same time, we managed for the vitreous cutters, the double blade and single blade cutters, to improve the aspiration potential. So they are able to aspirate up to 50% more than they used to. So in fact, during surgery, the surgeon should have literally no more difference in the aspiration characteristics between the 23G he might use before and the 25G we are having right now.
Wow, amazing.
We have a new and wide scleral buckling portfolio, which we are launching, because we felt in the last 2 years that there's a kind of renaissance of the buckling. If you have a young patient, a trauma patient, usually you don't want to take out the entire vitreous body because the patient has to run around for the coming years with this eye, and taking out the vitreous body is frequently associated with post-operative problems such as cataract, etc., etc. So buckling has definitely its right to exist. And we widened the portfolio, we had more subspecialties, and we are launching it at this year's EURETINA. So that's something to discover and to have a look in. We have improved our infusion and aspiration cannulas. We have some very thin-walled special polymers now in the portfolio in order to make sure when you infuse or aspirate silicone oil, you have shortened the time, because thinner walls, more volume, improvement of up to 20% in speed at least. It's worth to have a look at the Densirion Extra, which is a heavy silicone oil for inferior pathologies, and then the so-called F4H5, which is a special washout solution, a solvent to remove silicone oil without residues to avoid post-operative glaucoma. And talking about glaucoma, the glaucoma patient is frequently ending up in the hands of a vitreoretinal surgeon. We have a new and completely wide range of suturing material on the stage. And one of them is the so-called Kodomskoy technique, where you have a special suture in the Schlems channel to open it up and to have, therefore, the Schlems channel working again and probably reduce drastically the IOP. And the latest thing you might see is the new laser fibers. Highlight is we have the whole range, of course, up to 27G, but steerable and illuminated. So imagining you would be a surgeon, you would have the periphery to laser, then you could use one hand for indenting, and the other hand you have the illumination where you're lasering, and you're not lasering anymore in the dark, which I always felt really difficult if I see the OR videos and you have on one hand the laser probe, on the other hand the light probe, and you try to align them, and then in the periphery it gets really difficult. So with this durable laser fiber, which is at the same time illuminated, you overcome it.
Presuming that I am an attendee to this virtual booth of yours, are there posters or papers that I should be paying attention to? How can I get more information on all of these great new products that you're coming out with?
That's a good and a difficult question. There is no formal industry-sponsored publication or lecture we're going to see at the EURETINA conference. There might be one or the other one where we are naturally involved without forcing it because it's a scientific publication. The latest publication I'm aware, which was desired to enter the EURETINA, but they didn't make it because of the COVID-19 effect, they were delayed, is Professor Amin Kerani from the Calgary University in Canada. He's the current head of the Canadian Retina Society, and he's doing a wide study using the before mentioned Dendron Extra accidentally in his study, and he's doing actual patients and he's comparing it to old data he's having. So it has a lot of impact. And the Dendron Extra, just to explain it from a physical point, it's a so-called thixotrophic silicone oil. It's a non-neutral liquid, consists of massive long silicone oil chains and very small ones. And when you put massive pressure on it, which you do when you inject, the small chains start gliding on the long chains, like macaroni on spaghetti. So it's way easier to inject, but at the same time, extremely resistant against emulsification. So it's quite easy and fast to get into the eye and to get out of the eye, but at the same time, even if it feels in an injection like in 1000 oil, it is more resistant than a 5000 centistorch oil. And we made it heavier than water by using a semi-fluorinated alkane. So it's desired to be used in inferior pathology, where in the past we used to position the patient, demobilize him, heads down, etc. And he's been using it intensively, and I'm quite interested, looking forward to the entire publication, and I'm sad that he didn't make it to EURETINA.
Before I let you go, is there anything else that you want to draw our attention to that we haven't discussed that Geuder is highlighting at EURETINA this year?
To send out my warmest regards personally, and also from the Geuder team, to all the surgeons, to all the nurses, scientists, OR staff, press like you, industry colleagues, which we all really miss this year because we can't welcome and shake hands personally. And it's a challenging year for all of us, and we are very much looking forward to the next physical congress where we can be together again.
Excellent. Great. Well, again, this is Ophthalmology Times Europe with Hamadi El-Ayari with Geuder, and I wanted to thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.